Hey Leo, how are you? It's me, Lauren B. Welcome to the Untitled Tarot. As always, Leo, these readings are timeless. So when you get here, there will be an extended to this reading. The link for that is going to be in the description box below. I have a lot of downloads for you, Leo. We're going to use the Rider-Waite Tarot, but I have a lot of downloads that are really interesting. You feel a little bit tranced out, a little bit like Sagittarius was in their reading this week. There's this energy of like cruise control, like autopilot. You've been on like autopilot. And you know, really it's interesting. It's been like raining off and on all day, and I'm sitting here and I'm listening to the birds. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, where do the birds go when it rains? Where do the birds go when it rains? And I thought about it. And I realized they kind of nestle themselves in these little like nooks and crannies in the trees, like for shelter, right? Something that's like a strong pillar for them, right? So it's the idea, and I believe the last reading I did for you was about like the prophecy overhead, about these big blessings, these really big breakthroughs, coming in for you. And as we know, like breakdowns and interference and all that janky stuff, it always comes in like right before you have your breakthrough, right? And so I think you've sensed it, and you've kind of been guided to like keep your head down, almost like detach a little bit, right? Aquarius season, which we just got out of, is like extremely like detached. It like disassociates, right? Especially emotionally, and then kind of cruise control, right? In a Pisces season, which is really like idealistic, and it's like really dreamy, and it's like not even here. Like the lights are on, but like no one's home. It seems to be working for you, right? Almost giving you a chance to kind of like find shelter in a storm, find shelter in the rain, and allow, because rain's very symbolic of cleansing, allow this cleansing to come in for you, kind of leaning on a strong pillar. So, you know, for a lot of you, that's your faith. Just eyes on the prize, just kind of disassociate a little bit and like keep your faith, like kind of wait for spring to come, that kind of energy, and just kind of being a little bit on autopilot, just going through the motions and just like waiting for the ball to drop. They're showing me like New Year's Eve now. Interesting. And in your pre-shuffle, I did see like the Emperor in reverse, and I saw the Seven of Swords. So again, there might be like an energy around you, whether it's an energy or whether it's an actual person that's like really I'm hearing like abuse of power. They like abuse their power, or they like take advantage of like your kindness or anything, like things like that. So again, it's this like disassociating, kind of like going back in your crab shell. You're right next to Cancer, right? Going into your like little hermit shell, kind of finding like a nook or a cranny in a tree and just kind of like hiding in it, but still singing. Thank you. Still singing, right? Because the birds are still chirping, even though it's kind of like raining off and on. I'm hearing singing in the rain, just singing in the rain. It's like keeping this this energy of positivity and hopefulness and open-mindedness, like despite whatever storms or oppression is coming through that you might be feeling energetically or from people. So I'm going to pray, and then I'm going to start pulling cards for you, because it's a really interesting energy. You always have the most interesting energy, Leo. Father God, thank you for bringing me and my Leos in today. I ask that you give me wisdom, clarity, and discernment to deliver these messages accurately for Leo's highest of love, light, alignment, and assignment. We praise you, we love you, we thank you always. We give you all the glory and honor for these messages. To the utmost high, in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. Look, it came out. It's the Hierophant. It's the Hierophant. Look at that. Beautiful. Okay, so hold please. All right, so we have the Hierophant out first. We're gonna take this as your first house, and this is structure. This is hierarchies, organization. This also represents like divine order. This is sort of like my God card, right? And again, a lot of you are really kind of leaning on your faith, It's almost like God has become this strong tree for you, like this mighty oak, and you're kind of nestled in like the crooks of that, right? And with like the hands up like this, it's almost just maintaining your focus, just kind of fixing your eyes upon him. He's kind of just like pushing out all of the external things that like want to come in, because it doesn't feel like really like any harm is coming to you, right? Again, it's part of this like disassociation, like just focus on me, just like stay positive, like it's coming through, just like visualize the breakthrough, right? It's like training it. Ooh, Yeah, it feels like training a little bit. Any pressure that you are feeling is just meant to kind of refine you a little bit. It's just like training to remember to kind of keep your focus despite any distractions that are coming to you, because you have the Three of Wands coming up next, and this counts as your second house of value. And what is the Three of Wands? It's making that preparation in order to get on with your mission, right? Holding on, recharging your batteries, right? Because he holds on to one wand, and for me, that's always like a, not only the inspiration. Oh my God, you might not be saying anything to anyone. Again, you might have really just like clocked out for the week and just like haven't really been talking to anyone, because my throat chakra all of a sudden is like, but this is also you looking on the horizons, right? And look, see how these three, they're facing in the same direction. They're facing towards the sun. They're facing towards the light for the divine breakthrough, the blessing, allowing that to just like recharge your energy, kind of just like a safe place, just kind of like a safe place. I also think that you've really learned how to pick your battles as well, that not every fight requires you to fight it. You can let your angels and your guides and God fight them on your behalf. Some fights and battles really aren't for you. Some of them, it's just trying to distract you, trying to get you angry, trying to get you out of pocket, trying to get you out of your vibrational alignment. Yes, very good, because we have the Seven of Cups next. In reverse in this kind of third house of communication. And the Seven of Cups is a big part of temptation, right? Sometimes it comes through like the world is your oyster, but it's oftentimes it's you going through all of these different options of things that you could do that seem very, very tempting. But the reason that you haven't picked one cup, the Ace of Cups, right, is because none of these like really hit the mark. They don't check all the boxes on the list. And in reverse, again, it's almost like God, your angels, your guides kind of coming in and saying, Leo, like, you know, none of this stuff over here is for you. None of these distractions, a lot of these people, a lot of these activities, right? It's like, don't pick a half-drunk cup. Swill. You don't have to drink swill. Don't do that. Just be patient, right? Because in this Three of Wands card, he doesn't have any cups. He doesn't have any baggage, right? It's like, don't pick up other people's, like, messily packed baggage, like, right before you're about to start on this trip. Souvenirs, they're saying souvenirs, right? It's like almost when you go on a trip and you try not to overpack your bag, because you know that when you get there, there's going to be things you're going to want to get, like trinkets, like souvenirs, like a new bathing suit, like a this and a that, right? So it's like, leave that room. Don't pick up stuff that you don't even really want anyway, things that aren't really a benefit to you. Whether it's attitude, mindsets, philosophies, other people's baggage, like whatever it is, like leave room in your own suitcase so that way you can fill it up with something that is actually for you, that you actually do want. It's almost like, don't waste your money. It's like, if you want the iPhone, don't waste your money on like an Android, if that makes any sense. No shade to the Android users. I could care less, but that's just kind of how they're giving it to me, right? If you want store brand, don't settle for Nine of Cups in reverse. Yeah, and this is in your fourth house of home. So again, what is immediately in your environment, it's not that it's like bad, right? And that could be some of that oppression feeling, that pressure of feeling like I don't really have like the things that I want. Like my wish fulfillment isn't in my immediate home environment. I'm not finding it in this environment or with these people, or like my work hasn't fully come to fruition in the way that I want it to. But God's coming back in saying, just focus on me, because I'm restructuring that all for you. You're making these preparations. I'm not just doing these preparations externally to you. You're waiting for them to come in. I'm also doing it inside of you, right? It's going to come out of you, and then it's going to come out of your circumstances, and then it's going to meet in that alignment for you, right? It's like, don't just make do with what you have right now and feel like you have to almost settle. Don't feel like you have to settle just because you don't have what's in your environment, because we're changing your environment. We're changing the way it's all going to look for you. Look, with death, right underneath that, right? This is all about transformation. This may as well be a really freaky butterfly on this horse. And this is going to be in your house, which is your fifth house of pleasures. So there is something about, you might have been holding on to a lot of stuff in the past, and it was really hard for you to kind of cut the cords on that. But I think there's actually something really freeing about the surrendering of doing that. Almost it's not my problem. I don't necessarily know what's coming for me, but just the idea that I'm free from what's left behind me, that's really nice. And that is really allowing the transformation to happen. Again, internally as well. Being able to say no to things. Maybe in the past, you would have taken one of these 7 cups because it was a little tempting, even though you knew it wasn't really going to satiate you, right? A little bit like Chinese food. Like, you're going to eat it, but a half hour later, you're going to be hungry. So it's like, just hold out for the steak and potatoes if that's what you want. I don't know why it's coming through. And I feel like I'm coming through like so like North Jersey right now. I'm like, the steak and the potatoes. Go get yourself a coffee. Like, I don't know what that's about. I don't know what that's about. It's all my years in Jersey City, I guess. It's coming through. Now, in your 6th house, this is your house of health, right? So mental health, your physical health, your spiritual health. Health is so all-encompassing, but that Virgo energy is also that really detail-oriented, the day-to-day, the nitty-gritty. And I'm filming your reading on the full moon in Virgo, nonetheless. Would you look at that? And that's all about your environment, right? Cleaning out the clutter, internally and externally. And you have the World card, right? It's almost like, ooh, that's beautiful. Because this is card number 21, right? We're in 2021 right now. And I'm almost hearing, it's funny how they're giving it to me. It's almost like the year starts today. The year starts today. It's the energy of, it's like looking, wow, the fuck was that? Sorry, Leo. There's a lot of funny things happening now all of a sudden. Of course, it's either your reading or Scorpio's reading. It's the idea of, we always say to ourselves, right? It's like the future, the future is now, is what they're saying. The future is now. Sometimes we go, you know, in a year from now, my life is going to look totally different. But they're actually kind of bringing you back to the fact that it's like, you're so different now from a year ago that it's like, don't even look forward to a year and be like, in a year, everything's going to be so different and I'm going to be so different. It's like all that different, it's already here. It's already now. Like the future that you're like looking forward to, be in the present because it's already happening for you. It's already happening internally. You can tell by the decisions that you're making. You can tell by the way that you're feeling. You can tell by the things that you're focusing on now, right? Your priorities, the things that you're valuing are so different. Before you were valuing holding on to things, salvaging things from the past, right? So that way you could prove to yourself that you were right when you chose that thing. And now you're valuing surrender and transformation and allowing new space, right? Which shows a level of emotional and spiritual maturity. Like the future is now. The whole year is like today. The whole year is today. That doesn't really make sense to me, kind of, but okay. So in your 7th house of relationships, it's that Libra house. You have the King of Wands. So again, the King of Wands, this is pre-Emperor energy. This is really forward thinking, right? Maybe you're not at the Emperor status that you want to be, but it's like you're right there. Again, your last reading, the prophecy overhead, it's like you're right there. You're just one like hop, skip, and a jump from like being in charge of the whole entire kingdom, not just like one particular territory. And because the King of Wands is very passionate. He's fiery. He's excited. He makes plans and he follows through with them. And in terms of your personal relationships, I think this is a real level up for you as well. To go from the 3 of Wands in your value to the King of Wands in your house of relationships. But before you get there, you have to move through this death energy and the completion of the old cycle, because that's what the world represents. It represents completions and the new beginning. Again, it's the idea of feeling like you still have a lot more steps to do and complete before you move into your new season, perhaps, but it's actually by turning that less to the future and more into the present, you realize you've actually already done a lot of that work. You've already worked through the death energy. You've already worked through your transformation chrysalis period. And now it's like the ending that you were looking for in the future, it's already in the past. You're actually so much farther along than you have. And there's a real elevation in what you want in love, sex, and relationships. Now that I don't think, again, it's this, going back to this 7 of Cups in reverse, it's the not settling, right? I don't want to be lonely, so I'm just going to pick this person over here that isn't really for me. That isn't really, right? And it's also the energy of not wasting time, that you already have a lot of things to do and accomplish and build and grow and all of this stuff that you want people around you that kind of reflect that evolution, reflect that ambition, reflect those morals, those values, the focus as well moving forward. You want people that reflect that, not people that you have to bring up with you, but people that are already kind of like on your level. And I hear some of you going like, oh, that doesn't, but it doesn't mean like people not being on your level or being on your level. It doesn't mean one of them is better and one of them is worse. It's just what's going to be more complementary and compatible to you on your particular life journey, if that makes any sense. It's not like, oh, they're not on my level, they're not as good as me. It's not that at all. It's just like what was you're meaning the word cohesion, right? Is it going to be more cohesive as these energies intermingle, so that way both of you can do what you have to do in terms of your goals, your ambitions, your life purpose, your mission, whatever that is, right? As opposed to being in conflict and you guys in your energy exchange, making it harder for you guys, having it be more of a distraction that goes a lot down to the morals and the values and everything else. Now, again, I was talking about recharging your batteries and that one Ace of Wands, and here we have it in the 8th house of death and rebirth. That's Scorpio energy, right? So this is really putting to bed things in your life that are pulling on your energy, right? Because as King of Wands, he's looking in the exact opposite direction of almost like false flames just came through. So you take that for how you want, but it's kind of like that artificial light, like going in a tanning bed, as opposed to kind of sunbathing outside and getting like the real vitamin D from the sun. He's not even looking at it because he has his own Ace of Wands, right? So this is really putting to bed right underneath his death card and the 3 of Wands, which is interesting because if you wanted to combine them, that would be the 4 of Wands, which is foundation. Anything that's going to draw energy from the foundation you're trying to build, that's part of the death process for you, right? Directly underneath the death card, because it's not helping you underneath this 3 of Wands make preparations to get further on and complete your mission, living your best human existence that you possibly can. And again, that's part of this distraction, temptation energy, because these things, they just pull on your energy. They just make you tired. And then when they don't work out, they make you frustrated. And then you get upset, and then you fall out of alignment, and you get out of pocket. And then it feels like you have to start at square one, which is, again, this emotional and spiritual maturity, this completion in how day to day you're able to not choose behaviors or people just because they feel familiar to you. It's a familiar place. You've outgrown that, and you're valuing that in yourself now in a way that you hadn't before, which is why you're able to upkeep it. Now, in your 9th house of spirituality and higher learning, you have the 8 of Swords, which is kind of, I feel like, confirming a little bit what I was just saying, that little tangent that I went on about. In the past, you'd kind of settle for pittance. You'd settle for swill, these half-drank cups, things that you knew really weren't in alignment with your higher self, but they fed your ego. Things like competition, or wanting instant gratification, or wanting validation, or not wanting to be lonely, and all of these things. And then it would throw you into this cycle that now you couldn't feel like you could get out of it, right? These preconceived notions, like these imaginary borders of pain and suffering and mental anguish, right? The Swords energy. And that's something that I feel like you've actually successfully overcame. And because it's also in that house of spirituality, and nines, it's in the 9th house, and 9 for me is an individual number. It talks about inner work, individual completion, so that way you can move into the 10, which is a cycle or collective completion. This is you being able to do that, because I think you'd throw yourself into these situations in the past, and then right across from the Hierophant and the Death card, you would feel as though God was withholding things from you, when really you were holding yourself back from them by trying to salvage things from the past, giving CPR to dead situations, because it's easier to do that than to humble our ego and say, you know what, I picked wrong. I shouldn't have done that. I knew better, and I let my ego or my pride or my loneliness speak for me when I should have been more self-disciplined in myself. Does that make sense? And so that would put you in conflict with God. That would put you in conflict with your angels and your guides. That would put you in conflict with your higher self, what you actually knew was good for you. Because as a Leo, you are very prideful. No shade. I have a lot of Leo placements. A lot of them, right? I have a lot of Leo and I have a lot of Capricorn. I'm about as prideful and stubborn as you get. That's why I've been humbled many, many times. So I understand this energy. But sitting in that energy doesn't do anything for you. You get nowhere by being in conflict with God and your angels and your guides and your higher self, who all want you to have the things that you want, right? But your ego will play you out of your position. And so this is you really successfully completing that cycle of self-sabotaging yourself, not doing that anymore. Not settling for things that don't really check all the boxes. And that comes down to worthiness as well. Why aren't you worthy and deserving enough to have a purpose, a career, a person, an environment that checks all of the boxes, right? It doesn't make you greedy. It just makes you sitting in recognition of what is divinely promised to you through your father, right? Right. Say right, Lauren. Yeah. Oh, Say right, Lauren. Oh, look at my nails. They match the High Priestess. Okay, Lauren, stop it. Pisces season. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm Pisces. You know me. So, in your 10th house of ambition, you have the Knight of Pentacles, which is really beautiful. The Knight is the slowest moving Knight in the deck. He takes so long to get anywhere. We often think he may not show up. And again, this is that kind of the breakdown, the interference, the conflict, like right before the breakthrough, because sometimes things take a really long time to get put together, right? Because there's a season for everything. Everything's assigned for a certain period of time. And again, perhaps in the past, you might have gotten scared or frustrated and then fallen into kind of a lower vibration, feeling like it's not going to happen, and it's all of that kind of stuff. It's like that trying period. But this is you really kind of like staying the course, slow but steady but consistent efforts. Again, every day completing old cycles, every day successfully moving into new behaviors, mindsets, attitudes, which, by the way, being that in your 6th house is a Virgo full moon, is having a positive effect on your health as well, which I also think is helping you restore some of this energy that previously you had lost in this 8th house before, which is really, really nice. And I'm also hearing like good things come to those who wait. And I think that, you know, underneath this King of Wands, that's also saying that you recognize that if God said it, like, he'll do it. And you just need to stay focused. You need to stay excited. You need to understand why you're doing what you're doing and not allow yourself to lose confidence just because things aren't coming in at the same time that your ego wants to tell you it has to come in. Good things come to those who wait. Again, it's also a lot of this completing the need for like instant gratification. I think you know at this point, easy come, easy go, right? Now, in your 11th house of friendships, your Casamigos, you have the 3 of Pentacles in reverse. And again, this is pretty much just confirming exactly what I was saying, that a lot of these friendships, a lot of these relationships, which is why the King of Wands isn't even looking at them at all. They just weren't working. It wasn't a true collaboration. They weren't like checking. Because you see in this card too, this one guy is doing all of the work and everyone else is just watching him do it. Like, oh, nice, good job, right? It's carrying the load. It's carrying the brunt all by yourself. Not a reciprocal energy exchange in love, in friendships, in the community, in your environment, right? Which is why you have the 9 of Cups, which was fulfillment in reverse in your home, right? In that 4th house for yourself. And so again, this is a lot of the, again, with that throat chakra, you may be just like cutting some people off, not really speaking to people, saying no to other people, also no to yourself. Again, when your ego wants to come out and be like, but I'm lonely, and your higher self is like, shut up, I don't care, like, we'll be fine, we're creating energetic space for new people, it's fine. It's a Virgo full moon, we're going to clear our house, we're going to clear our head, we're going to clear, right? Clean house. And so this is you, again, realizing that not trying to give CPR to good situations, friendships and relationships that aren't working are just draining your energy or making you lose confidence in yourself or momentum for what is better coming for you in the future. Now, in your 12th house of secrets, it's the Piscean house, right? You have the High Priestess, which is the card of Pisces. So, you know, unbeknownst to you, perhaps, is that you already at some level unconsciously knew this. Intuitively, you already knew that this whole process was going to come through for you. And I also think on some level, you knew that a lot of this was a trying testing period to get you to become more astute, but also resolved in your faith as well. And again, part of like a lot of this ego pride that's going on that you feels like you really have successfully overcome is that the High Priestess knows she's powerful. The High Priestess, she knows she's got the juice, but she's humble about it because she knows where it comes from. She knows it comes from God. It's not like, well, all of these things happened for me. I predicted all of this stuff. My life is in a really awesome place because like I'm a BAMF. Right? It's not like that. It's like, no, these are blessings. There's no such thing as like, this is a blessing. If I'm powerful, it's because my God is powerful and he channels it through me. She's a powerhouse, right? And being card number 2, 2s represent balance, but she's balanced in her power. She's humble in it because she knows where it comes from. And because it comes from a source higher than her, because the good things that happen in her or his life happen because of something higher than her, it means that it can't be taken away by other people. She cannot become disempowered by other people. Her blessings cannot be stopped or sabotaged because of other people. And I think that intuitively you knew this in some aspect. You knew it in some aspect, but your conscious mind might have been sort of hiding it from you because of the distractions in your environment, but because consciously as a co-creator, you've decided to put down some of these bad habits, decided to refocus, right? Back on your faith, hide in the nook of the tree, even if it was raining, and sing, praise, be positive, keep your eyes on the prize. Anyway, the prophecy is still overhead, like in your last reading. It's circling down bit by bit by bit. So, Leo, I'm going to go over on the Patreon. And I'm going to keep pulling cards for you because I'm interested. I'm feeling very nosy today. So if you are interested in your extended reading or any of the monthly readings coming up for March, the link for the Patreon will be in the description box below with all the decks I use on the channel, all my social media links in case you want to find me on TikTok or Twitter or Instagram, anything like that, and my email in case you are interested in a personal reading. I am open for March bookings now. So thank you guys for watching. I love you so much. Let me know how you're dealing with these energies. Let me know how my cool cats and kittens are reacting to the full moon. I love you guys very much. And as always, stay prayed up, stay blessed, stay sweet, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.